All right.
And so we're going to go into you bring the topic and me bring the topic. You being the guest, it can be your topic first.
Oh wait, I had a topic.
I know what your topic is, but I'm not going to
I
tell you. I'm not
forgot.
going to tell
But
you.
I forgot my topic, and we totally established it.
We did totally establish it.
And I was so happy about that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Think hard.
I can't. It's and my brain was going back to panicking about the
Shoom,
Kickstarter.
shoom, shoom,
It's
shoom.
not going to help because now I'm just listening to the sound effects. Can you help me? What was my
That
topic?
was. Zoom, zoom, choo, 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 zoom, zoom.
Oh, Star Wars!
See?
Star Wars was my topic. How could I have
See?
forgotten that? That's
I'm
like
a sound
sacrilege.
effects genius.
That's right.
If
Star
you need
Wars.
any like stock sound effects for Hullabaloo, just come to me and I'll straight away. If you need some sort of lightsabery thing, it's easy.
That was awesome. I should
30
have
seconds
put it.
work, no worries. In fact, they can just get it straight from this podcast. If anyone's working on the next Star Wars movies, they can just rip this podcast, use that sound effect, and it's fine.
It's like a royalty free.
Oh yeah,
Like,
yeah, it's out there in
sound
the
effect.
public domain, the Creative Commons or whatever it's called.
You're giving permission.
Yeah. So yeah, Star Wars.
Star Wars.
It's quite.
It's a broad
big,
topic, though.
Yeah. So
Because we
what
could
would
talk
you
about
want to
many
talk about?
things
Star Wars.
in particular.
Yeah. What?
Yeah.
Should we
that's a-
rank the movies? An official rank of
We could
order.
do that. I fear that might come back to haunt us one day, but let's do it.
No. The listeners of this, they're very stupid people. They forget. It goes in one ear and it comes out the other. Like, that didn't offend them because they've forgotten
That
about it
didn't offend them?
already.
That didn't offend any of your listeners. Like, if
forgotten
I was
about it.
listening to this.
They've forgotten about it already. They're lovely people. I love them.
It's like all your likes are gonna go away now. Like, no more likes.
Yeah, I'm not superficial. I don't need likes to tell me I'm a good human being. But please like. Yeah, so
movies.
ranking the movies. Okay.
Well-
First of all, let's discuss. What do you think? Did you watch the trailer for the new one?
I did.
And what did you think? Yeah, I thought I wanted to not watch it because I was like, I just want to, because trailers now seem to spoil a lot of things, and you've basically trailers now. Although this was like it was a teaser, it wasn't the actual main trailer. Trailers now seem to be the 2-hour movie in 30 seconds, and it's like, well, what's the point in that? But I feel like this was a really good teaser. Actually, it didn't give anything away, but it just went, here's Star Wars. It looks awesome.
You know what I would have done though? If
What?
I mean, not like I'm a teaser trailer director, and clearly the people that did this would be like, she's so amateur and doesn't know what she's talking about,
Yeah.
clearly. But I think I would have just had the shot with the Millennium Falcon.
Oh,
Like,
how
I think I
good
would have just
when
done like coming soon, showing the Millennium Falcon, and then I think the best Star Wars trailer I have ever seen. I believe it was the trailer for the new ones. I don't know. I was really little. I just remember being in the theater, and I was really little, and it was just black, and you could hear Darth Vader breathing. And then that was it. And then it was like coming soon. And that was it. That was
Yes.
the teaser. And I was like, that in my mind is one of the best teasers. And I believe it was
Yeah.
for episode 4. Because I think it wasn't, I
Well, it'll have been
remember,
three. It'll have been three, won't it?
I remember they were doing like in the theaters in Montreal, they had like a re-screening of the classics.
Oh,
like,
right.
I think because they had redone it with like, digital remastering, and they had that new scene.
Well, that have been like 96. I feel like
Maybe.
maybe could have been like when the first remakes came out, where they digitized everything and they added Jabba as an actual creature in the first one instead of a person. Who was in the very first one, like is a person. Obviously, in the second and third one is Jabba, but in the very first one, that scene when they come out the Cantina band and Jabba, he owes him money. Like in the very original one, Jabba is just a bloke. Yeah.
Oh, and that's how they had the footage, and then they digitally remastered
Exactly.
it. Oh,
Exactly.
I get
Yeah.
it. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that was when they were re-showing that.
Yeah.
And I just remember seeing this trailer where it was just like, and it was so good, right?
good,
So
yeah.
I don't know. I think I would have loved to just see the Millennium Falcon, because who doesn't want to see the Millennium Falcon?
The Millennium Falcon's as much as a character as anyone else in that film. You know what I mean? It's like it's iconic. You see that and you're just like, okay. Same with
You're
like Star Trek and
Falcon.
with Star Trek, like when you get like a picture in your head, it's not of like a certain character or whatever it is of that bloody daft Star Trek ship. I can't remember what it's called now. Enterprise. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's same with Star Wars, like, but that scene where it's sort of like it kind of
Yeah.
went up and like shot back. Oh, it was just like, oh my
And seeing
god.
the ships also just before it, like that was cool. But
Yeah.
I think part of me felt like they were kind of trying, like there were moments in it that I didn't really see, like why we had to see that stormtrooper being all panicked in the desert, and
Yeah.
then people like they were. It's like they were trying to tell some kind of imposing
And
story.
then there was the
but it was so
ridiculous thing
random.
of like people went crazy on Twitter at that dude because he's black.
Oh, is that
It's like,
why?
what?
Like maybe that's what they
A black
wanted. Without,
stormtrooper. Ugh. It's like, what? What are you talking about? Like, how is that still a thing in 2015?
yeah,
That
exactly.
people are people. I've said this a million times on this show. People are people. You know what I mean? Like black people, white people, people are just people. Different religions, they're just people. You know what I mean?
And
We should
nobody
treat each other with
freaked out
love.
when there were different, like Jedi have always been all different kinds of
Exactly.
people.
It's
And
just like
aliens
it's
that are-
yeah, exactly. You
and
haven't got
they're
a problem
people.
with aliens who are like the most foreign you can get. Not even of this planet. You're fine with aliens, but like someone who's like, what are you talking about? That's ridiculous. I think as well. Like I think he put like a tweet. I may be like misquoting me, but it said something like yeah, a black stormtrooper, deal with it or get over it or something like that. And I'm like, yeah, that, you know what I mean. That's a good way to deal with that. It's like,
But I think it does sort of reflect that our society is not quite there yet, you know, like
no, definitely
people
not.
like you think that you are, and we're not necessarily closing doors on different people, women, racial minorities, whatever. I mean, the truth is, it's even dumb to say racial minority because
I know,
white
it's
people
like-
aren't the most populated. Like
No,
Caucasians
exactly.
are not like
Exactly.
you know the biggest demographic in the world, and but yeah, I think just the fact that people respond, just like how a lot of women always respond to like, oh my gosh,
Feminist
there's like
things
a
or-
woman.
Yeah.
Bounty hunter or something, like
Oh,
it's a big
right,
deal,
okay,
but
yeah,
it shouldn't be a big deal. It's just like, yeah, cool. There's a woman bounty hunter, and
It's
there's a.
like it didn't even enter my head that he was a black man.
I
It
know,
was
me
just like,
too. I
oh, there's
didn't
a
know
dude
that
there.
was on Twitter.
And it was like he's just a bloke, you know what I mean? Like it's who cares?
I know,
Who
'cause I
cares? Like
love
literally
people
who
say like the person, like a stormtrooper, like takes off their helmet and they're like, oh, it's a blonde stormtrooper. He's
Yeah.
blonde.
Oh,
Like
oh my
that
God.
went all over the internet
Yeah.
viral or something.
It's-
Like I would love for people to say. But they don't.
No,
But
exactly.
They
It's
should, because
ridiculous.
I don't remember any blonde stormtroopers in the past, so it could have been
No,
a blonde
exactly.
stormtrooper. But I agree, it's kind of I just feel like there were things that like there was no purpose to seeing this sweaty guy stormtrooper,
Mm.
and then they had the shot of the girl, and maybe it's just because they're trying to show that there's a pretty girl in the movie
yeah,
or
maybe.
something. And so I felt like there were things. Sorry, not to cut up the trailer, but I was like, I didn't like that part of the trailer. I was like, I don't really see why you're even keeping the spirit of Star Wars. Like they're trying to show the visual effects. Maybe that's why I get defensive, because I feel that films have now become about selling visual effects than
Although
telling stories.
with these they're using practical effects. Like for 95% of it, so it's actually they're building the sets, they're building like
nice.
interiors
Yeah,
of
so it's
ships.
not
It's not
gonna
green
feel-
screens.
So it won't be like the
that's why like
4-5
everything
bit.
looked like a bit
Really cool.
yeah, but everything looked like a bit like muddy and like carved up, and there was like
Which
stuff
is
was
better.
like, which is how stuff would be in real
But
life.
I think J.J. Abrams, like, I think he's a geek himself. You know,
Oh,
like I
yeah.
think he appreciates like those kind of things. So I hope I hope he'll keep to the spirit of.
Yeah, well,
of
I think he
the
said
film.
like if he's doing it, it's going to be done the way that the old ones were done, where it's like they
Which is
build
great.
sets, you know what I mean, and everything like that, and it's
Yeah.
the way films should be done. But obviously with Star Wars, they've got probably an unlimited budget. If J.J. Abrams was like, right, we need an extra million for this, an extra million for that, Disney are going to go, okay, because they know that this is just going to just the Disney's
It'll-
bank
it'll
account's
cost
going to
what it
just
costs.
even just with the new merchandise, the new action figures is
Yeah.
going to add a few million to Disney's bank account. So they're like not worried about that. Whereas I think the issue again goes back to like how movies is too much of a business now, because practical effects cost more to do.
Mm-hmm.
They take more time, they take more labor. Whereas you could get one dude in front of Maya for half a day to model a scene, and it's done. Whereas like if you had to build a scene, you know what I mean, like it's
Yeah.
going to take like forever, and then just slap in front of a green screen. Whereas like if you're filming out in outdoor scenes with like everything like that, you've got to worry about lighting, you've got to worry about
Right.
this, you've got to worry about that. And it's nice that we have like such a gangbusters film like Star Wars that's still it's that big, but they're still going back to going like, look, we're doing this properly. You know what I mean? We're not just going to phone this in and get an easy 100 mil or whatever it's going to make, or $1 billion at box office, whatever it's going to do. We're going to do this properly, and that's
Yeah.
admirable, and the way that the other filmmakers should look at things. I feel.
Yeah, I think so. Like it definitely tips its hat to keeping that legacy and tradition and going back to the old ones. And but I hope, like, I think also though the only thing is that now, like, it's just the visuals though in general. Like the visuals look great, but I think that we've just come into a world though where films have become about visuals, like, period.
Oh yeah,
It's
yeah.
like,
That
it's always
started
about,
like, I don't know if it
and
started, but
story.
it amplified with what the hell was that? The Day After Tomorrow. Do you remember that
Oh yeah,
film where it was like, here's every effect we've got this year, and then
yeah.
after then it just became every, because there was films obviously before that where like, look at our special effects, and it was like, okay, cool, but this was the one that steamrolled the fact of,
Yeah.
right now every Hollywood film's just going to be like, hey, look what we invented this year, and build
And
a story
Jurassic
around
Park
that.
too. Jurassic Park did that.
Yeah.
Like every monster movie basically reuses shots from, and even though Jurassic Park had the technology, like had some technology behind it, so it wasn't like Jaws, where they had to
Yeah,
really
yeah, yeah,
problem
yeah, yeah,
solve or
yeah.
whatever. Jurassic Park did have that technology, but they also they didn't flaunt it. They picked
It felt
shots
very
to best
organic.
tell the
It felt
story.
like an
Yeah.
organic film. Did Jurassic Park?
But now
Definitely.
it's like, yeah, now it's all being reused, like all
Mm.
these shots and like certain, I don't know. So I feel like people just think if it's really just about the visuals, then that's all that matters. Or like, you see The Hobbit now, and I feel like the Hobbit is just basically an obsession about animated
Yeah,
orcs moving cameras.
yeah,
Like the
exactly. Yeah,
story doesn't even matter
it's
anymore.
more of like a hey, look at our cinematography rather than hey, look at our
Yeah.
story.
And using the 3D technology, like the amount of bugs and twigs that
Yeah,
are,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
in the screen, like
Yeah.
like I think like in a few years when that becomes a very commonplace technology, we're gonna look at these old films and be like, isn't it so cheesy that they kept trying
Oh,
to show
definitely,
things at the screen?
definitely.
It's so those kind of things. I hope that because at the end of the day, if the story is good, I mean, I always like the old school stuff more. Like, I think that also the performances, like the actors in Star Wars, you could see in 4, 5, and 6, they had nothing to relate to in the
Mm,
room, so it's not even their fault that it felt
mm.
disconnected. Like, I think, it's nice to have a tangible space to
Well, yeah, I mean, like, it's
relate to.
difficult to act when all you've got is your co-star and a blue or green screen. It's like
Yeah.
you're not getting like the inspiration from the scenery and from everything around, because like if you're in, not even if you're acting, if you're just a human being, you feel different in different spaces that you're in. You can't help it. It's
Yeah.
just people have, obviously we get all this input from our surroundings and our spatial awareness and everything, and like every scene being this like just green screen with like just cameras and tech around you is nowhere near as cool as being like in front of this huge like control console with like this and that and all these like
Yeah.
surroundings and like feeling like you're in a spaceship. It's surely going to be able to easier to act like you're in a spaceship if you're actually in a freaking spaceship.
Yeah, yeah, no, totally. Because if you can't, like, I did some motion capture work
Mm,
for a gaming studio. I did some for iAnimate, but I also did some like following that
mm.
for a gaming studio, and it was weird because even though there were directors there, I was in a room and there was no furniture or anything, and they're like,
Yeah.
okay, well, you're like, we need you to lean against this table, and you're going to be looking at this kind of like a like a floating a holographic map
Mm.
that you're going to be looking at there, but you don't really know like how. So I'm trying to pretend that I'm leaning on a table and you think that it's over here, but it was a really weird
Yeah, I
experience,
can
like.
imagine.
And so I can imagine even if you're a trained actor, like,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a trained actor, but it was, yeah, I found that really strange. So I can only imagine it would be a big disconnect. But I hope, like, I think at the end of the day, like a good story, however you choose to tell it, like some people could make a homemade movie, whether they use CG effects live props
Oh
or
yeah, yeah, yeah,
whatever. And
yeah.
if it's a good story,
It don't matter. Yeah, it's the
yeah,
same with the animation stuff now. Like, yeah, the animation's cheaper and everything's just shipped out to Korea or whatever. And in fact, I was watching a Simpsons episode the other day, and at the end, Mo comes on and he was like, "I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as the Koreans that animated it did," or something like that. Real self-referential of like, because they're just done in these, like, they're getting paid no money and they're just shipped out like
yeah.
over there and everything. And I thought that was quite funny actually, but
Well, a lot of the work is getting outsourced now. It's true.
yeah,
It's like getting harder and harder for animators in like Western
yeah.
countries to be able to compete with.
But I think the story is gone as well, because it's
Yeah,
just like, right, we need a funny moment here, we need a funny moment here, we need to make people feel a little bit sad here, then bring it up with a funny moment, end. Oh, we
yeah.
need a catchy
No.
song there, and whereas
And as long
before
as
it
like
was
everything looks like
okay,
blown
coherent.
away with the effects and
Yeah,
stuff, it's like going in to see a big like effects show half the
yeah,
time.
exactly,
So
yeah.
I really hope that I don't J.J. Abrams has never given me reason to believe that he
No,
would do
no.
this with the Star Wars films. I hope that Star Wars will not follow the trends of a lot of these other big
Yeah,
VFX things.
I feel like, because they're doing like, they're gonna do like a major movie every other year, like
Is
six,
that
7, 8 every other year,
okay? So
and
it'll
in
be like
between
six.
that, yeah, but in between that, they're gonna release, just like in between, like unrelated movies, like maybe one that follows Boba Fett or one that follows
Oh, that would
Dash
be so.
Rendar
Because
or
I've been
something.
so out of the loop while I've been working on my.
Yeah, yeah, you can
I've been
imagine.
like literally cocooned, but that's actually super cool. That
Yeah,
would be
and they're
amazing.
saying like these
Yeah,
are unrelated. These are separate stories within the universe. They're
I
not part
suppose
of the thing.
kind of
They're just
like
part of the
Agent
universe.
Carter, like what
Yeah, yeah,
they did
exactly.
with
Yeah,
Marvel. Like you're
yeah,
just kind of doing a little spin-off kind of adventure
exactly,
thing. It's entertaining. It's part of the world, but it's not the core storyline.
exactly.
Yeah, that's actually cool.
Yeah,
I
I
think.
think so as well, because a huge part of Star Wars, which is something I never really got into, is the expanded universe. The
Mm,
books that, like, it first of all became fan fiction, and then just like they were like, okay, we're going to release all this fan fiction, and then like
yeah.
everything like that, and there was all like different galaxies and stuff that were in there, and that became like a
Mara
huge
Jade.
part of, like, say that again.
Mara Jade.
I,
The girl, do you know Mara Jade, the character? I always just loved her. Maybe it's because I'm a girl. After we talked about all this,
maybe,
like,
yeah,
don't be
yeah,
girly about things or don't be racial or
yeah.
racially oriented.
But the girls are
Um,
so pretty.
but Mara Jade, I always loved because she was a dual lightsaber wielding Emperor's right hand after Darth Vader, but like secret. And she
Yeah.
marries Luke. She's like his
Oh, right,
future
okay.
wife or something in
Okay.
the extended universe. So I always liked her.
Because that's always been a big part, and now that's coming to the big screen, which
Yeah.
is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so let's get into the nitty gritty. Which
Okay.
films suck, and which films are good? Okay.
Okay. Well, we can already just like divide in the sense that it's
Well, we know
clear
that the
that
original
4,
three,
5, and 6
four,
will
five, and
not.
six. Well, 4, 5, and 6 in the it's always confusing when you're talking about
Oh
Star Wars,
yes, I
because
know.
it's like 4, 5, and 6 is 1, 2, and 3. So it's
Yes,
so 4, 5. The
4,
original
5, and 6.
trilogy are obviously going to be in the top three in
They're in the
some
top.
order,
Well, I was actually thinking that no, no, yeah, you're right. You're right.
and then the newer trilogy, 1, 2, and 3, even though it's 4, 5, and 6, they're going to be in the bottom half in some order. So
Yeah,
we'll work
actually,
with the crappy ones first, I think.
I'm gonna inject something in there though because that gives us 6. But I'm gonna put kind of like a 7 in the middle because Star Wars: The Clone Wars, it's animated. I
Okay,
love that
I've not
series.
seen that, but
You have to
I've
see
heard
it.
nothing but good things about it.
Because you know what, if you put like for me, I've decided, how kind of like Indiana Jones, like we said this, it's fantastic,
Yeah.
but we just like to pretend that 4 is not a part of that, like
What you on
4.
about for? For?
For
The
yeah,
one to four.
exactly. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Okay, okay.
There were only 3 Indiana Jones.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Yeah, everyone does
Yeah.
that.
So, so to me, Star Wars: The Clone Wars, it's like now in my mind in the Star Wars stories, I just have episodes 4, 5, and 6, and Star Wars: The Clone Wars,
Okay.
and there's nothing
Well,
else.
what's interesting is, well, yeah, what's interesting is they've come out and said, I don't know if it was J.J. Abrams or someone representing Star Wars or something. They've said that all the expanded universe, yeah, they're going to be taking like elements from that, but that's not canon anymore. That's not part of the
Oh, okay,
canonology,
yeah.
whatever the word is there, and that the only things that are part of the canon are the 6 movies plus the Clone Wars. So the Clone Wars are actually
Plus
part
the Clone Wars.
of
Oh, I
of
love
the
it.
canon. So this kind of
Fantastic.
counts,
It's
even though
well
I've not
because they
seen it.
really stay true to that world. But the
Yeah.
cool thing is that like I guess because for me, like one of my favorite things about the Star Wars, like Star Wars, because I love storytelling. Like I've always loved like mythology and storytelling, and that's why I studied all these like. I studied it and I love it. And so, when you look at like just the hero's journey, like mythological storytelling, like there's certain stories that we've been told in the like in throughout thousands of years of
Well, yeah, even
history.
through religion and everything like that, it
Yes.
started like
And
that, and
yeah, and there's certain stories that we still consider like great stories, like the
yeah,
Odyssey or like certain things that represent like the best like journeys and challenges of ourselves or
yeah.
whatever. And I feel Star Wars is like that. Maybe I'm just a
Oh
big fan,
no,
but I
definitely,
really
yeah.
the storytelling of it is like it's that classic journey. And what I always loved about Star Wars, even before the 1, 2, and 3 came out, is that like the concept of how you were told this story of a hero like Luke Skywalker.
Mm,
And you know how like in story you have your principal character, and
yeah,
then you have everybody else is sort of like a supporting character, right? Like
exactly,
it's like
exactly.
they're there to hinder or help that hero's journey.
Hmm.
And then so we grow up like watching these stories and that Luke Skywalker is this hero, but only to understand that in the greater arc, Luke is like a secondary character
Yeah,
that he's only
exactly.
there to service the redemption of the true hero of the story, the rise and fall and redemption of like our main hero. And so
Yeah.
the Anakin to me is such an important character.
Mm.
And so I felt that obviously I felt very disappointed in the Anakin character in 1, 2, and 3. I just felt like you can't really believe in this character. And when I
No,
saw the Clone Wars, how they portray Anakin is incredible. Like
you've
that
sold
is
me on the Clone Wars.
Anakin
I'm gonna have to check
that
it out.
you have to, because I was like, that is Anakin. That is
Mm,
who he should be, and
yeah,
like that he was noble and wise and adventurous and a little bit reckless, but not immature, not juvenile, not
yeah.
irrational. And he truly was like the hero that
Mm,
everyone believed him to be, but not unique. Like he was part of the Jedi, but
yeah.
he was special and better. And then you see through like and the cool thing about the Clone Wars is that it puts light on how the balance wasn't like Sith or Jedi. It was even the Jedi caused imbalance. It was the
Hmm.
whole nature of everything. And so they really go into that in the Clone Wars.
That's
And there's
yeah.
actually there's a thing you should watch it because it's so much better when you watch it this way. And I did a rewatch, but they released the chronology of the Clone Wars, so you actually
Oh right, okay.
it's not in the order
Yeah,
of
yeah, yeah.
seasons. If you Google it, it's like you start with season 3. There's an episode in season 3, and then you watch an episode in season 2, and then you
That's
watch
really cool,
season
actually.
1. So it's a different order, and then some of it goes for 10, 15 episodes in the right order,
Yeah.
and then you have to put in another one from season
Oh
2
no,
and
I will do that.
season
I
1.
will do it that way. Yeah.
Yeah, so watch it in the right order because it all falls into place like so well. It's amazing.
Star
So
Wars can't just go one,
yeah,
two, three, four. They have to faff around with orders, don't they? Like
I know
first
it's.
film number 4. All right, okay.
I wonder if they did it to give it a feel of like people could tune in randomly and not worry
Maybe,
that I don't
yeah,
know, but it's so much better in that order. And it was official that they apparently was on their blog or something. They
yeah.
officially released that was the order.
Okay, well, I
And
will. I'll definitely do it that way.
do it because to me, I'm like, watch the Clone Wars and watch 4, 5, and 6, and everything else can just get, you know.
So before we discard that hot steaming street trash of a trilogy, the newer trilogies, let's which one is the worst of the 3?
Oh, but I don't. I don't know.
I feel
The second,
this. Yeah, I
yeah,
was just gonna say
the
the second one
second.
because nothing happens.
But I think, see, it's so hard because for me, they all work together.
Mm.
Like it's so hard to say, well, not the second because the events of the third could only be because of the second. So
True.
as a whole,
But
they're like
as a
each
list,
other.
we're making a definitive list here.
Okay.
This is
I know
official. This is
it's
going
so,
on the official Star Wars, but it's not. Nobody cares what we're talking about. But this is our semi-official list that we're doing now.
right.
So I think as well 2 is the worst.
I feel bad saying it's the worst though. Like I'm very hesitant to commit
Man
to that,
up.
but I know, but I think yeah, as a standalone,
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
maybe
Okay, we'll
it
do
just
this
doesn't
as
feel like
standalones
it's
then.
not the one that I go to rewatch as often. Maybe I'll
There's some
say
cool
that.
flying cars. That's all it's
I
really
just can't
got.
say that it's the worst because to me it's not. They're all fantastic. I
Yeah.
think they're. Um,
Man up. It's like you're marketing your book now. You're like, I don't want to say anything bad. I don't want to say anything.
it's like this internal conflict because I'm
Yeah.
like, it's not the worst. It's just that it's like that transitional part of the story because it's like a whole story, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
but
But
I think
I feel that one to me is the worst. So that's
I
number
think that,
6
okay, so that's
or
no, that's not
7.
six. Oh yes, that's sorry, that's five. You're talking
No,
about episode
no, no,
five.
no. I'm on about on our list of from bad to worst. This is at the bottom. This
Oh,
is at number
the list is
6.
not the top like best to worst. It's bad to worst.
Well, this is at the
That's the
bottom of
thing.
the list. Then
So like
this is certainly not the best. That one's
okay,
going
so
at the
is
bottom.
best at the top because we're only
Best
dealing
is at
with
the top.
seven.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay, so then it would be three, right? Would be three
What?
because four would be the Clone Wars on our list. If it's best at the top, like number one is the best, right?
No,
Not
we're getting
episode.
confused. Of
Let's make the list A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
I don't know how that's going to make things any easier for you, but if that's clear in your mind, we shall do that.
Okay, let's call them. Yeah, okay. So we'll just always make sure that we say episode before the number and list. So if it's like list one,
Okay.
list number one
Okay.
is the best, right?
Yeah. So list 7, which is the worst, because
Yes, list 7 is the
list
worst.
7 is episode 2, which is the
No. It has to be 4. It has to be list 4 because remember that episode 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about the new one. You're saying of the new 3 ones, not of 4, 5, and 6. Which of the new 3 ones is the worst? Oh, totally 2. Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
I was
that's what I'm
thinking about
saying.
5, 6, and I was like 5. How can
No.
Oh no!
No.
Okay. Yeah, I would even.
Nothing
yeah,
happens in 2. Like,
3 are a close tie though.
Say
3
that
got
again.
pretty bad.
yeah, but then
Episode
it's sort
three?
of. I think it had more redeeming. More stuff happened.
It's
I feel
just
like
that 2
2
had
was
good
just.
music. It
Yeah,
was the
that's
music
true.
that sold it.
And it had cool flying cars, but apart from that, it had nothing else.
Yeah, let's put 2 as number 7.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's what I'm
sorry.
saying.
Sorry for
That's where
confusion. I know. I totally.
we're
It's me that was
confused now.
I'm sorry.
I was like, God, you're really giving 2 like a lot of credit for being an absolute terrible film.
I'm sorry. I was thinking. Okay, yeah, we're going through the old ones, the ones that should be forgotten.
Yeah, the newer
Because
trilogy.
Clone Wars will replace them, right? Okay.
Yeah. So 1, 2, 3 in the real Star Wars numbers. Mm-hmm. But like
Yeah, 2.
4, 5,
2 will
6
be
in the order
7.
that they came out. Yeah. So
2 will be list 7. But then I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
3 would be list 6.
oh yeah.
It was pretty bad.
Because I think 1. I mean, like, yeah, when you compare it to like the older films, it's a terrible film. But I feel 1. I don't know if it was because when I was at the right age when it came out. I don't know how old I was.
You're
I can't
excited.
remember when it even came out. But I was like at that right age. Where I was probably around Anakin's age, and like the pod racing was cool to me then. And I mean, Jar Jar is like the most annoying character probably that has ever existed. But I was probably in the right age for Jar Jar to be cool at the time. Like when it first came out. So I kind of give him a little bit of sort of a bit of a pass. Yeah, I feel like one is the best out of the 1, 2,
I
and
think
3.
so. Yeah, we'll put 1 as number 5.
Yeah.
I think, and also Liam Neeson was in it. So Ewan McGregor and Liam Neeson. It's the first time that we see Ewan McGregor being. Like,
I liked
so
Liam Neeson.
like-
I really like,
yeah.
and Darth Maul was a cool bad guy.
Yeah, he was a cool bad
The
guy.
twin
too.
lightsaber.
Yeah, that was
Come
cool.
on.
That's the one thing I didn't like about the new trailer, and I know that there's been a lot of response, like to animated videos and stuff on YouTube with that like hilted lightsaber.
Oh, yeah,
Which to me doesn't make any sense because if you have a blade that just the touch of the laser
Exactly,
can burn you,
exactly,
why would
exactly.
you have? How could you even do cool moves?
Exactly.
Doesn't make
exactly.
any sense.
No.
I was like, and that's the part that bothered me because I was like, this is like just trying to be like, how can we be cooler? How
Yeah,
can we be more
yeah. It's
badass? And
it's it's trying to sell toys rather than
yeah,
whatever. But
yeah.
but
So
yeah,
I was
but
like, that's
Darth
not
Maul's
cool.
dual lightsaber thing, that was
That
cool
was
because
cool.
he
That
he
was
could
really
use it as a single lightsaber, and then when he popped out that second one for the first time, he was like,
I know
whoa.
that was cool, and I
Yeah.
do support that. I can support the duo
Oh,
wielding
definitely,
lightsaber. It's pretty
definitely.
cool. So
Yeah.
it's
So,
those things allow the lack of story to be
oh
a
yeah,
little bit redeemed.
yeah. Darth Maul was cool. I'll
Darth
always
Maul
say
was
Darth Maul was cool.
cool.
Um,
The visuals were cool.
yeah,
So
and
there was a lot of cool visuals and stuff, and it's true because it was like that reintroduction to the Star
yeah,
Wars universe
yeah,
again.
yeah,
It makes you a little more excited, but still, I still think they could have cast Anakin, young or old. Their whole like Anakin was
yeah.
wrong.
I agree.
The
I
script, even
totally
the
agree.
script, like not even just the actors, but I just felt the scripting, everything was just
Yeah.
really,
Yeah,
um,
definitely. But yeah, so that's the official bottom of the list, right?
yeah.
So,
Okay,
me not knowing anything about Clone Wars, where would
we
you
have
put
to
that
put it
on?
as we'll put it as four
Okay.
because cinematog like the Clone Wars actually like I think the director and the team and people that were working on it, they're like really committed Star Wars fans,
Yeah.
like you can tell. So it's kind of like I think that they believe like they wanted to be do as good a job as possible. And and there's little like hat tipping things like I've got a bad feeling about this is like
Yeah,
in
yeah,
every
yeah.
episode
Right.
and
Okay.
things. So they know what they're doing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I think like obviously just in terms of it being a TV series and everything, it doesn't have the same like visuals and cinematography and editing and stuff. But I mean, again, it's still I really think for a TV series it was like on the technical level it was
Yeah.
still done really well.
I mean, yeah. I mean, like when you've got to do 22 episodes a year or whatever, it's a different
Yeah.
story to doing a
And
standalone film where you've got 5 years to work on it.
yeah, and apparently, because I was watching because I was like, I got the box sets. I was watching the behind the scenes, and they didn't even have assets. I think the first season they had to reuse, like they didn't
Right.
have the funding to create new assets, so
Mm.
they'd use the same boxes, but they'd try to light them differently or try to, make
Yeah,
it
yeah,
look
yeah.
like they weren't. So I
Do
think
the
they
whole
were,
Hanna-Barbera like.
yeah,
I'm sure I've just seen that scene scroll by and a completely different like episode and everything like that. Yeah.
yeah. So I think just for that, like for the visuals and for the like obviously the original Star Wars, but I think it should go as four because the original Star Wars are like the classics. But it's still pretty good. Like it's better than if you want to see the whole story. I think the Clone Wars gives a better sense
Cool. Cool.
of
Cool. Cool.
what the Anakin's life was than
Yeah. So the difficult three to judge, the
yeah,
original three,
tough.
is very tough
It's
because
tough.
I have like conflicting views with everyone else. My personal favorite, and I think
Yeah.
this maybe is just because I maybe saw it more when I was a kid, or it's the first one I saw as a kid. I just love the first one. I know it's probably not. It's
I was
probably
gonna
not
say
the
though, like
best,
list
but
number one, I know, but some people say it's like the Return of the Jedi, right? That
yeah,
they
yeah,
say
yeah,
is
yeah,
their
yeah,
favorite
yeah.
film, and
Which I would put personally in number two.
that's what I thought we were talking about before. That I was saying if we really have to, Empire Strikes Back could be three, but it's so hard
Yeah.
because they're really. I see them all as like the three of them make a complete number
Oh,
one.
definitely. Oh,
You know?
definitely. But that's
So
that's the easy way out.
yes,
That's the
but
easy way
it's true.
out.
It's a tough one, but I agree with you because I think also like when I remember when I was a little girl, like that was like my earliest memories of like any story that I liked. Like it wasn't like My Little Pony or Barbies or something. It was Star Wars. Like I loved Star Wars and I wanted to play Star Wars when I was in kindergarten, and I loved. Yeah, I loved it. I totally remember that the first one, and
So are we going like the official order then is 1, 3,
yeah.
2,
Yes,
Clone Wars, 1, 3, 2. How weird is that? It's 1, 3, 2, 1, 3,
It is
2.
weird. It is weird. Maybe it's a coincidence. But but that being said, episode 5,
Oh yeah, yeah.
such a close, like they're all
Yeah.
so close.
Yeah.
Like it's like it's getting into the realm of the subjective more than the
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely.
you know,
Like I say,
the blanket statement kind of.
yeah. So that's the official list, everyone. That's the official. Everyone else who thinks anything else is wrong. We are right. This is official. It's
But the
that's the way it
first
goes.
one is like as a film too, like as far as the screenplay goes and story arcs, just like technical stuff like that
Yeah.
maybe most of the audience might not
Yeah.
necessarily be aware of. Like
Yeah.
to me, it's like such a perfectly executed film.
Oh yeah. It's
Too,
amazing.
just the way that they set it up, the way that the character, the obstacles that the character goes through, like every piece of that film. I just think, yeah, it's such a
The death
great
of Ben
film.
Kenobi and everything.
Yeah,
It's
just
so
so well done in episode one. Great film. So
Yeah.
I feel like for that reason too. But yeah, for nostalgia reasons, I don't know. I just feel like that one to me was always
Me too.
very prominent for some reason.
I thought we would disagree on these movies because I thought it was going to be like
I respect
3-1-2,
your
but it
choices.
was we was exactly the same. That's crazy.
It's okay. So we didn't have to get into a fight because
No.
these things get really heated. You know,
Yeah.
it's like religion, politics, and Star Wars. And
My internet punch is quite a. I know you're like some sort of judo master, not judo, Shaolin monk.
I did Shaolin and
Yeah.
Taekwondo, but
Yeah.
not judo. I don't think I have the upper body strength to.
I got to black belt in Wadaroo.
Judo.
It's like
In what?
Wadaroo. It's a form of karate.
Oh, cool.
Karate.
That's pretty
Should
cool.
pronounce my teeth.
Very
a bit more.
impressive.
Not really. It wasn't hard. No, it was. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Yeah, Wadaroo. It's just form of like I said, karate.
That one. I'm gonna look it up. That's very cool.